Today we are going to learn about stoichiometry and the mole bridge. So, what is stoichiometry and why we should learn it? It's a relationship between the amount of reactants used in a chemical reaction and the amount of products by a reaction. And by studying stoichiometry, we'll see how to predict the amount of a specific product created when a given amount of reactant is used. And actually, it's hard to learn from the definition, so we are going to look through some examples. So first, here's a chemical equation. Well, it's actually not balanced. So the first step we are going to do is to balance the chemical equation. And if you're not familiar with or you are not sure how to balance a chemical equation, you can look at the website below and you'll find the details of balancing chemical equations. So from what we just balanced, we can notice that 2 moles of ethane and 7 moles of oxygen can produce 4 moles of carbon dioxide and 6 moles of water. So it's same as molecules. So for 6 molecules of ethane, so for 2 molecules of ethane, it can be fully reacted with 7 molecules of oxygen. So the answer should be 21 molecules of ethane. So the next, let's look at another example. So for this one, it's quite different than the previous one. It asks for the mass and volume. So what are we going to do for the mass and volume? And we are going to look at the moles bridge. So for calculating mass or molecules or particles or volume or we should all calculate the moles first, the number of moles first. So for this chemical equation, we can notice that 4 moles of ammonia and 5 moles of oxygen can produce 6 moles of water and 4 moles of hydronuclear. So what about 2 moles of ammonia and what's the mass of hydronuclear? So for 4 moles of ammonia, it can produce 4 moles of hydronuclear. So actually it can produce 2 moles hydronuclear. And then it's become easier to calculate the mass of hydronuclear, just times 30 grams per mole, which would become 60 grams of hydronuclear. And let's look at B. For what volume of ammonia at STB is required to react with 3 moles of oxygen. And for 5 oxygen, it can be fully reacted with 4 moles of ammonia. And while it is at SCP, the volume should be 22.7 liters per mole. So the final answer should be 54.5 liters.